owe for the cost of a van and lost property.
All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2127, Kim versus Kim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Holly.
Miss Kelm, this is your son and your wife.
Yes.
What's your first name?
Jacoby.
What do they call you?
Jake.
How old are you, Jake?
31.
How long have you been married?
7 years.
Prior to getting married, were you married to someone else?
Yes.
For how long?
5 years.
Did you ever live with your mother?
No.
When was the last time you lived with your mother?
I was 17, I believe.
Okay, so you had a reasonable relationship with your mother?
Yes.
Until when?
Until May of I'd say September of this year.
September of 2022?
Correct.
This is about a car. Is your claim that you sold your son a car and he didn't pay you? His defense is that it was a gift. There was never a discussion of that payment. When you turned over the car to your son, according to what I've read, you signed over the documents that allowed him to register the car in his own name, which he did. So he registered the car in his own name. Is the car still driving now?
No, it is not.
Where is it?
It got scrapped.
When?
October 3rd, 2022, which I have the receipt for that as well.
When did your mother turn the car over to you?
May 31st.
What kind of car was it?
2006 Chrysler Town & Country.
What happened to it?
Transmission went out on it, and it had some electrical issues, kept draining the battery.
Had you spent anything to have those issues addressed?
Not on the transmission. I did replace the battery 3 times.
Did you buy a new car?
Yes.
How much?
$700.
What kind of car?
2003 Nissan Altima.
Why don't you tell me the circumstances, Jake, of the transfer of the car from your mother to you? Tell me the date that happened.
I got the title on the 30th
Of May.
On the 31st, I was able to transfer it.
Tell me about the conversation with your mother when she signed over the title to you. She says you were supposed to pay her some $800 for the car.
No, Your Honor.
I want you to tell me what the conversation was with your mother when she gave you the title. You came to her, you didn't have a car.
Right.
You didn't have a car, you needed a car. And?
She said, the van's sitting over at the other property. It's just been sitting there for the last year. You can go over and if it starts, you can use it. And it did. She said, however, you cannot take the van until the title's transferred. And at which point she gave me the title and the lien card for it. I went to the DMV, I transferred it, came back, got the van, and I was on my way. About a month and a half later, she was saying that if you give me $500, I'll put it in the safe for you, and then I'll just give it to you when you need it.
You have any communication with your mother about the car?
Not anymore.
I mean, communication in writing.
Oh, yes, I do. But nothing about payments. I mean, there was a few texts here and there saying, I want my money, or I'll take the van back.
I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Jake hands documents to Kevin.
I might have one more in here. There's this one as well.
He hands another document to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews a text exchange.
Jake, on September 3rd, Jake, you said, not sure what's going on with you, but this is getting ridiculous. I'll pay you when I have the money.
Right.
That's what you said.
Yep. I'm not saying I don't owe her anything. I'm just saying I was going to give her something just to show.
No. So on September 3rd, you got the car at the end of May, so June, July, and August you had the car, and you said, I'm not sure what's going on with you. Maybe, Mom, you're having issues that I don't know about, but this is getting ridiculous. I'll pay you when I have the money. That's an acknowledgement that you owe your mother the money.
Correct.
Okay. And how much did you agree to sell him the car for?
Car was $800.
Okay. Tell me about discussing with him the cost of the car and what you were going to sell it to him for.
We were at my friend's house and we were playing marbles and having a few beers like we always do. We get together a lot. And he didn't have a vehicle, so we discussed he could use mine. And at that time, he said, well, he'd rather buy it. And then I said, okay, I will sell the van, which I was talking to my daughter about. She wanted to buy it also. And I told them both it was $800. And you could shake your head, no, that's true. But it was $800. And he said, okay, could he get it right away? And I said, well, first of all, I can't let you drive it because you're not insured. And then we talked about he was gonna buy it and he would take it. I said, you gotta transfer the title first. So he did all that.
Okay, well, that's responsible of both of you.
Yeah, there is no way we could go with no insurance. So then they took the van, and I told them first, I need to clean it out because I have a bunch of stuff in there. They said they would clean it out, but they needed a vehicle right away, and I said, okay.
When was the first time you asked him for money?
Holly looks up. Caption, coming up.
$800 is a substantial amount of money.
He would get a paycheck and he would go to the casino or go to the racetrack or whatever. And I said, well, what about paying me some money?
And later today,
You sound like a really bright young man.
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
You really should find something important to do.
I've changed sectors since then, Your Honor.
Judy grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Holly, Jake, and Kelly.
Holly Kelm claims her son and his wife, Jacoby and Kelly Kelm, owe for the cost of a van and lost property.
Okay, when was the first time you asked him for money?
In the summer sometime, I mean, we'd get together at my friend's house, and it's probably a month later, I asked him, are you gonna pay something on the van? I couldn't even say an exact date because, like I said, we got together, we played cards, and we would have a few beers with my friends over at her place, and then we'd discuss the van a little bit, discuss the money.
Just for my own curiosity, you've seemed to have, up until this point, a very fine relationship with your son and his wife. Is there something that interfered with that? I mean, $800 is a substantial amount of money, but odd to bring it to a lawsuit.
There's really nothing that interfered with our relationship except for him not paying me some money. And in between this time, and you both know this.
Don't look at me.
There's one text in here, do you have any money I could borrow? And well, I didn't have any money. I think I probably had 20, and I would give it to him. Because being a mom, I don't want to see him hurting, but I told him, you still have to pay me for my car.
Okay, and he acknowledges that he would pay you for the car when I have it.
But he would get a paycheck and he would go to the casino or go to the racetrack or whatever. And I said, well, what about paying me some money? I said, can you at least give me $25 so I can pay for my medicine? I don't have it. Okay.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $800. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Well, I'm glad at least I'll get my money back for my van.
There's a lot of things that my mom did say that were very untrue.
I love him. I will always love him. He's my baby.
You just don't sue family over something so stupid.
Judy.
You know, I'm really happy that I finally learned how to text.
Yeah, and how useful text messages can be.
Because, I was late to the game with all this electronic stuff. Anyway, these text messages have become so vital to adjudicating cases because younger people memorialize everything, including what they have for breakfast and lunch and how they're feeling and what they're doing in text messages. But for the text message that he gave me, which said, I owe you the money, I'll pay you when I have it.
I think people, especially younger generation, think it's a flippant, I'm going to send this text really quick, or I'm going to
somebody on the phone.
Exactly, like it's a conversation, but they don't realize the legal implications of sending a text from your phone number, admitting a debt, even if that's not what you intended at the time you sent the text. Now there's this altercation, and you bring it to court.
Right, and it's memorialized in a writing.
Yeah.
Coming from your phone.
Got to be careful with what you text.
Yeah.
Case 2132, Eagle versus Ulrich. All parties, please step forward.
Tobias Eagle is suing his former friend, Joshua Ulrich, for cryptocurrency profits and equipment.
Mr. Eagle, you and Mr. Ulrich were friends. You were traveling together for business. What kind of business were you in other than this cryptocurrency?
First off, we weren't friends initially. We were first business partners, and we worked together underneath my mentor through his company, Symbio. Yes.
Okay, and what kind of business?
It was teaching workforce development for, I guess you could say, people who needed skills so they can be prepared for engineering jobs.
Okay, you worked at the same company?
Yes.
Okay, and when did you decide to go into this business together?
Around January to February 2021.
This has to do with cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Okay. This cryptocurrency business that you went into together, did you form a company or an LLC?
Yeah, I already had a company established. I was doing it more as a recreation, but...
So the answer is you and the defendant, when you wanted to go together into this business, did not form a separate company?
No.
So individually, it is your claim that you spent some $20,000 on equipment for this new company.
Yes.
And you were supposed to share whatever profits there were in this new company. And quite frankly, I know nothing about cryptocurrency. I am of the Charlie Munger school of cryptocurrency. I think it's all about the emperor's new clothes. And unless I can feel it, touch it, taste it, smell it, or bite on it, it doesn't exist. So I want you to know that's where I'm starting.
Yes.
Okay? So you're going to explain to me what the business was that you were doing with him that involved buying $20,000 worth of equipment, which you now say is in his possession that you want back.
Yes.
Cryptocurrency.
Okay. He mentioned that he knew how to mine cryptocurrency.
Okay.
That's how we
now
use it.
I understand that those are the words that you use. Where is the mine?
May I explain cryptocurrency to you a little more too, Your Honor?
Oh, I'd love to hear you.
Okay, sorry. Mining is just a term for generating profits from cryptocurrency. There is no physical mine, as you may already be aware. It's not like mining gold.
Yes. It's not like anything. It's like the emperor's new clothes.
Yes, ma'am. But essentially, cryptocurrency...
That's why it collapsed.
Yes. Cryptocurrency mining is just...
You know that it collapsed.
Oh, yes, it collapsed.
Everybody knows that it collapsed.
Yes, ma'am.
Charlie Munger predicted that a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am. But essentially...
You know that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what you were involved in is a shill game of Emperor's New Clothes, which would have involved all of your investors. Who was it that created cryptocurrency? The Winklevoss?
I don't know who created cryptocurrency.
Brothers? I don't know. Not sure. In any event, somebody had a vivid imagination.
Yes, ma'am. But all crypto is we essentially use our computer resources, specifically a piece called a graphics card that is really good at solving equations. We essentially solve equations for money. That's really all mining is.
You solve equations for money?
Yes, ma'am.
What equations?
I don't know the specific equations. Essentially, the equations are so complex that when you solve them, you're rewarded for your time and the effort that your computer put into it, and that's where the revenue or mining comes from. We essentially validate transactions the same way you might want to make sure that a transaction on your bank statement is legitimate. And so we were paid for validating these transactions.
You sound like a really bright young man.
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
You really should find something important to do.
I have changed sectors since then, Your Honor.
You have equipment that he paid for?
No, Your Honor. I would actually like to
Just
get in.
a second. I'm just asking a question. I thought maybe we could resolve this. Show me what equipment you purchased, sir, the receipts for it, and tell me where it is.
And so we're not here specifically for the GPUs that he claimed.
The what?
GPUs, graphic cards.
Just a second. Don't say anything to me, sir.
Caption coming up.
You have a counterclaim for equipment.
I have it for equipment and cryptocurrency assets.
I'm not bothering with that.
Okay, no worries, Your Honor.
Yeah, no worries.
Joshua smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tobias and Joshua.
Tobias Eagle claims his former friend, Joshua Ulrich, owes for cryptocurrency profits and equipment.
I contributed $20,000 in equipment, and by the first quarter of 2021, I am suing the defendant, Joshua Ehrlich, for cryptocurrency profits and return or value of equipment.
Yes.
I'm not concerned about cryptocurrency profits, because I think cryptocurrency is a whole lot of who shot John. And the only ones that probably got skunked are any investors that you put into cryptocurrency.
Well, it still has value, so.
Well, you know something? You tell that to all the people who lost billions in the last 2 weeks. Would you mind just showing me the equipment that you purchased and receipts for it? I didn't ask you for anything.
Yes, Your Honor.
Equipment that you purchased. Okie dokie.
Tobias.
And so for this equipment, it was purchased through an auctioning site. And so they only have a year delay. And then that was the only information I was able to receive from them.
That's not helpful to me, sir. That's not helpful to me at all. I can't, what am I supposed to do with this?
That's just showing that I have proof that I purchased the equipment.
Doesn't show me how much
It wasn't how much I bought it for. It was because I plan on rebuying the equipment. And so that's just proof that I bought the equipment and that he has it.
That a workstation, a Hewlett-Packard server,
Yes. And I have a price
one
break.
small pallet of miscellaneous battery backups,
Yes. And there were specifically 12 of
and
those.
2 Dell towers.
Yes.
Everything here are things that you want back from him.
Yes.
You have nothing in your house of these things.
Of those things, no. Those are in his barn right now.
Okay. Do you have these things?
No, Your Honor.
Did you ever have this in your possession?
Yes, at one point I did have it in my possession.
When?
I had it in my possession when we were at a shared facility that was in Rancho Cordova.
Now you're not in a shared facility anymore.
Yes, ma'am. Since
Okay.
we were in a shared facility, I have never had the equipment in my possession. Furthermore, the equipment that he's talking about has nothing to do with this case. This case is primarily around the assets.
You have no idea how simple I'm going to make this, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
He has receipts for certain equipment.
I have receipts for more equipment, and I have a very
Just a second. You have a counterclaim for equipment.
I have it for equipment and cryptocurrency assets.
I'm not bothering with that.
Okay, no worries, Your Honor.
Yeah, no worries. No assets.
No
There are no
problem, Your Honor.
cryptocurrency assets. Where is the equipment that you claim he has that belongs to you?
Well, it was originally at his house when we moved out of the facility. I relocated all of it to his house. I have an inventory ran on the last day I was at his house, marked with the location, the equipment, and a lot of details. I would love to show it to Your Honor if that's acceptable.
Just a second. Do you have,
On that list, no.
no, do you have
what
any
is-
equipment at your house?
Yes.
What equipment do you have at your house?
The graphics cards that he's talking about.
So you have the graphics cards
Yes.
that belong to him?
No, they belong to me mostly. So I bought.
What do you mean that they belong to you mostly?
I bought most of the graphics cards. He put in some money for some equipment expenses. And for my estimates, which I wish I could have asked him, was around $3,000 that he put in. And I put around $15,000.
How do you expect a court to dissect this business mess that you've created?
I'm not here for the GPUs or graphics cards. That's why I completely left them out.
No, but he has a counterclaim.
And that's fine. He can present it.
I understand that.
Sorry.
How do you expect somebody to pick apart this legal morass that you have, except to say that all of the stuff should be sold?
Understood.
I don't have any value of what you claim you spent for this because there are no amounts on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a problem.
I do have
like to-
documentation, Your Honor, of all of it, and it's labeled who purchased it and the amounts. In addition, the second page here has the totals that he was talking about, and the documentation page is
Okay,
below.
now,
Kevin brings documents to Judy.
great.
She reviews them.
That isn't a lot of very expensive stuff that you paid for, Mr. Ulrich.
There's not too much, no, Your
No, there isn't too much expensive stuff here, right?
Yes,
You know, we have something for $24, something for $15. You paid for the little stuff, he paid for the big stuff.
Two things, Your Honor, that I would like to mention. First of all, he did not purchase $20,000 worth of assets. This is
did.
a highly inflated number. I can actually
Maybe,
prove this.
just a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Just a
No
second.
problem, Your Honor.
I'm not awarding him any money. Each of you will take back the things that you bought. You didn't have a formed company together. It's not a company asset. It belongs to each of you. You're not in business anymore.
Yes.
So all I have to know is what do you have at your house and what do you have at yours?
He has everything, including all the physical assets.
That's a
The
lot.
only thing that I have at my house, Your Honor, or it's actually on my computer technically, stored in a digital wallet. A digital wallet is the same thing as a regular wallet. This is just how we store cryptocurrency.
I don't want to care about that.
sorry.
I don't
No
care
problem,
about
Your
that.
Honor.
All I'm talking about is equipment.
I have
So
no equipment at my house, Your Honor.
what equipment does he have in his house?
He has everything that's listed on that document that I gave you. And I actually do have proof that he has it because.
I'd like to see it.
So these are text messages from my roommate to his mother.
From who?
From my roommate. He was supposed to be here as a witness.
If
and
he's not here, you can't show me texts from him.
he wasn't able to make.
Well, you can't prove something to me via hearsay from a witness who's not here.
It's not hearsay, it's just text messages that he gave.
That's
from his
hearsay
phone.
by a person
Well,
not here. You know, I actually don't think that you're ready to have this case tried. I
believe-
can't help you. You say you don't have anything in your house. You can't tell me how much the item cost. If he said he doesn't have anything in his house, should I rule that he has to give it back to you and he said, I don't have it, I can fix a dollar amount, but I can't do that unless you have what you paid for it.
I have documentation here that at the value at which I had to pay to buy it back. Because since it was through an auctioning site, I don't remember. I had several auctions I bought most of that equipment from.
You can show me a bank statement where you paid money to an auction house. I just want to see an amount that you paid to the auction house.
Damage after his car was vandalized.
Judge Judy enters.
Court come to order. All rise.
She takes her seat behind the bench.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2151, Martin versus Morale.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Martin, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been neighbors?
Moved into the subdivision in 2019.
That's how long you've been there.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know how long the defendant has been there?
I think 2014.
Is that right?
2017, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
And where do you live in respect to one another? You want to go over there and show me?
I live in this house right here. Or I did. I don't anymore. This house right here.
Okay.
And she lives right here.
You sold your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the defendant
She lives right here.
where the blue car is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
A diagram of a neighborhood.
That's sort of a circular area, and from the circular area, you pull into your driveway, is that right? Okay. It is your claim that the defendant keyed your car.
Yes, ma'am.
And when did this happen?
January 22nd, 2022.
The defendant says that she did not key your car. She has a counterclaim. She claims that she was falsely arrested and held overnight in jail.
That is a lie.
But just shh.
Okay.
That's her claim, that she was falsely arrested, that she spent a night in jail. She had to hire a lawyer, did hire a lawyer after her lawyer requested several adjournments. You were not, at least physically, in the courtroom at the time of the last adjournment, and the case was dismissed. So let's go back to prior to January 22nd. I assume that if you're alleging that the defendant keyed your car, that you have some negative history with each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Starting when?
There are so many. I mean, it started out when we moved in the subdivision. They were nice at the beginning, no issues. And then the kids started having, her granddaughter lives with her.
Okay, how old's your granddaughter?
She's 9 now. She was 8.
Okay.
They started out having some issues, as kids do. I mean, you know, that happens.
You have a child of a similar age?
Yes, ma'am. She's 11 now. She was 9 or 10 when
Okay.
we lived there.
And the two children had an issue?
I mean, you know, kids argue.
No, I understand that. I'm not going into who was right and who was wrong in the kids' argument. I don't really care. But when did that argument between the two children spill over to the neighbors?
Well, I guess the final straw was Labor Day weekend of 21, the Sunday before the Labor Day. We came home late. It was about 7 o'clock. We were working, and we told Jillian we were going home for a little bit, and she said, I want to swim in the pool. So, all right.
Jillian is your 10-year-old?
Yes, yes. And of course, she said, well, that's boring, Daddy. I want a friend to swim with me. So I said, okay, one friend. That's it, because your brother's going to watch you, and then we're leaving to go back to work. So she goes next door to Patrick's house, which is the next door neighbor, and she asked Patrick to come over and go swimming. He comes over. At the time, I didn't know this. At the time,
At the time, the defendant's granddaughter was there.
Yes.
At Patrick's house.
yes,
Got it. So your daughter went over and invited Patrick
Right.
to come and swim.
right. And not,
You had told her that she could have one friend in the
Right.
pool, so Patrick left to come swimming, leaving your granddaughter alone.
well, she had to go home.
She had to go home.
Yes.
She came home.
Oh, just a second. That's what happened. Okay, you had a grandchild who had hurt feelings. I assume
She
had
actually
hurt.
went over to go swimming. She thought she was invited too.
You had a
Then-
child with hurt feelings.
And I went to ask what had happened.
Okay,
That's this big hoopla.
okay. Now, your grandchild comes home. I assume she was upset. Was she crying?
Yes.
Okay, and that was about what time?
In the evening. I honestly can't remember.
Okay, and when she came home crying, tell me what you did.
Went out and, honey, what's wrong?
What did you do?
Are you okay?
Yes, and she told you what happened.
Said I went over to Jillian's, she invited us swimming, and when I got there, her dad said only one person could swim,
Okay,
so she came home.
okay, and what did you do next?
That's not what happened.
I talked to her, calmed her down, and I went over and said, hey.
You know, just a second. You walked from your house, where the blue car is.
Yep, around the corner.
Did you take your granddaughter with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
She's lying.
And what, shh. If you do that again, I'm
All
just
right.
going to dismiss your case. Do you understand
Yes.
that? And you know, it's
Yeah,
easy.
I got it.
This isn't my case, it's your case.
I know.
So you walked alone to his house. Did you knock at the door? Did you go outside? I want you to tell me exactly what you did.
I don't remember if I went to the front door, or I went to where the pool is, and I do believe Mr. Martin was out there.
Okay, so Mr. Martin was out there, and you said it in that kind of a calm tone?
What happened to my granddaughter? Why is she crying?
Well, she told you why she was crying when she was home. She told you she was crying because she went over there to swim, and Mr. Martin said you can only have one person swim with you.
Which is totally out of character. The children swim together all the time.
You mean at Mr. Martin's pool?
At Mr. Martin's pool, and if they need another adult,
just a second.
I go.
So they swim all the time in Mr. Martin's pool, so you wanted to know what happened on this occasion when he said only one person can swim.
Yes.
And you said it in just the same kind of conversational tone that I'm talking in, is my question.
I was very calm at the beginning, yes.
Oh, okay. And so you said to him what happened, and what did he say to you?
I don't remember exactly. It was to the effect of his son was going to watch them, and he could only have one child in the pool.
Right, that he wanted his son to have responsibility of only watching one other child other than his sister.
Correct.
All right, well, that sounds reasonable.
And that's fine.
Just a second. So how did it escalate? He said, I only wanted one child in here. My son's going to watch the kids. We have to go back to work. And that should have been it. Why wasn't it?
I don't know.
Caption, coming up, Zachary at the diagram.
So I walked back out and looked at the pet finder, and that's what I discovered, the scratch across the back. Bright white, so that indicates it's fresh. I told her while she was standing there, you're going to jail, I'm going to call the police.
Okay, now I'd like to see the video.
Nancy rolls her eyes. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Zachary and Nancy.
Zachary Martin claims his neighbor, Nancy Morrell, keyed his car and owes for the repairs. Nancy is countersuing for a false arrest and lawyer fees.
Now let's get to your version of what happened. Okay, so you said only one child. Her granddaughter went home. Her granddaughter, who's a little girl, is upset. Why can't I go swimming too? I got that. And?
This is a lie. Everything she told you was a lie.
Just a second.
She did not come to my house.
Just a second.
She did not come to my house.
If you say again it's a lie, I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I asked you what happened.
She did not come to my house.
Okay.
Her daughter came to my house.
Just a second. You mean her granddaughter's mother?
Yes. I never talked to her.
Before my daughter went over, I had gone over.
She didn't.
Oh, no, just a second. Yeah, now I don't believe you, Miss Morrell. Now I don't believe you, madam. I watched your eyes. I just watched it. Now, uncross your arms. So, her daughter came over first.
No,
Yes.
I
Well,
went over.
I don't want to hear you.
She never came over. The daughter came over. She bypassed my front door and went to the side gate where the pool is. She told my son to go get me.
To go get you.
To go get me. I came out and she called me a jerk. You should let her swim in the pool. Blah. I just told my daughter, look, you can have one friend because your brother's watching you. It's not fair for him to watch 3 kids. Just 2, that's all. I told her, I said, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I said she could have one friend and that's it. She proceeded to call me a jerk. She said some other choice words I'm not going to repeat, in which case I did cuss her out and told her to get off my property and not to come back again, anybody in her family, or I would file trespass charges.
Okay, and that was on the Sunday before Labor Day?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did this incident happen with your car?
January 22nd.
After that incident on Labor Day weekend, did you have any other contact with the defendant?
Yes.
When?
I think it was right after Jillian's birthday on November the 21st. I think it was like a week, like December the 1st, I think. And this is really sick, but it got to the situation where she would watch my kid. And every time my kid would go to Aubrey's house or Patrick's house, she would take toys, she would unpack her stuff. And I told her, I said, look, you can't play with her. So they would wait 10 or 15 minutes till she got unpacked and get all comfortable, having a good time. She would send her granddaughter over there. She had to pack her stuff up, come home. She would come home crying many times. So then it got to the point where Patrick, he would come over to our house. He'd be over to our house all the time. They would get on trampoline, play video games, blah, blah, blah. So I was doing something one day and then the camera went off and I give me a look at my iPad. Here comes Nancy up my driveway. She knocks on the door and she says, can we play? And I said, no, you can't play. Get off of my property. File trespass charges if you come back. That was, the last time I interacted with her. Until she keep it.
Well, it's not my job to be judgmental in a social way, but I have to tell you, I would have handled it a little differently with her. she wasn't the one who behaved badly, I wouldn't visit her daughter's bad behavior on an 8-year-old. You know, there are kids who live right around the corner from each other, and it seems to me that the bad behavior of a parent or a grandparent shouldn't impact on a child. The granddaughter is a nice little girl.
Well, I mean, if you say so. I mean,
is she?
Well, she spread rumors about my daughter and said that, you know, she told Aubrey that my daughter stole some of her toys, and that was a lie.
All right, well, it's sort of started to get nasty. Now let's get back to the keying of the car. So that happened in January. So tell me about the January incident.
Okay, so she got up January 22nd, it's a Saturday. She decided to walk her dog. She's walked her dog.
Go over there and show me what you saw.
Okay.
Zachary at the diagram.
So she decided to walk her dog, and so she walks up the sidewalk.
Well, you didn't see that.
No, not right here.
No, you didn't see that.
When she gets about right here, which is Patrick's house, the mailbox is right here, you can see in the video. That's when the cameras detect motion. That's when I get the alert. So I see her walking the dog, and she's walked her dog past my house many times, but never gotten that close to my vehicle. So immediately I thought something.
Where was your car?
My car is parked right here.
In the driveway?
Yes, ma'am. So she walks the dogs, and she is right beside the view. I mean, you can see in the video, you can see her right hand go up. So I immediately run out of the house. I have a truck parked right here. I looked at my truck. I thought maybe she did something to the truck. I looked at it, didn't see anything. I went back outside and I said, well, wait a minute, let me go back outside and look at the Pathfinder. So I walked back out and looked at the Pathfinder, and that's what I discovered, the scratch across the back. It's bright white, so that indicates it's fresh. I told her while she was standing there, you're going to jail, I'm going to call the police.
Okay, step back. When you said to her, you're going to jail, I'm going to call the police, did she respond?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, now I'd like to see the video.
Okay.
Footage of Nancy walking her dog.
You can see as her hand goes up right there.
Nancy disappears behind the vehicle, then emerges and hurries away.
I'll take a look at it again. Is there any reason that you stopped behind his car? Is there any reason?
Stopped to sniff, I stopped with him.
You see her right hand right there.
I'm moving my arm as I walk.
Yes, and that's what a scratch is.
Okay, can I take a look at the photographs of the scratch, please?
Zachary produces photographs, then hands them to Kevin. He brings them to Judy, who reviews an image of a scratch on a vehicle.
Okay, so based upon what you saw, you called the police. And based upon that, the police came, interviewed you, and viewed this tape.
Actually, I had contacted the police after he had yelled at me. He's a little incorrect. Could I show you where?
Sure.
I did walk my dog around here. His cars impede the sidewalk, so I moved. And I had completed my whole route over to about here, and he did indeed come out and yell at me. I caught a few words of it, said I'm walking my dog, waved my arms, and continued on. That's not the first time he has yelled at me as I've been walking, and I went home and I filed an incident report, and I do have that.
Just a second.
The second time I've been walking and he's come out and yelled at me, it's very unnerving.
That's a lie.
We're very far.
Sorry.
It's going to cost you getting your car fixed. It's something you don't understand.
I haven't.
Something you don't understand. I'm allowing both of you to tell me your sides of the story. You can't say that's a lie. Do you understand?
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not cutting you off. I let you tell me your story, sir. I let you tell me what happened, and I want to give the defendant the same opportunity. You can't interrupt her. Now you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will tell you what I don't understand, Miss Morell. You see, if I had got into a kerfuffle with him, which you had, because he said, you and your granddaughter, which I actually think was socially wrong with regard to your granddaughter, but with regard to you, he doesn't want you there, right? I wouldn't walk up a cul-de-sac to go past his house. If it were me, I see plenty of space where you can walk. You can cross the street from your house and walk in the street the other way. And then when you come back, you can walk the other way. You don't have to go inside that cul-de-sac to walk anywhere near his house. That's looking for trouble.
Caption, coming up.
Can I just say something?
About what?
The trend that another gentleman, he tried to accuse of scratching his car.
Are you her husband?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to let you stand up now, and you're going to show me where he accused somebody else of keying his car in the back in January. Show me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Zachary and Nancy.
Zachary Martin is accusing his neighbor, Nancy Morrell, of keying his car. Nancy is countersuing for a false arrest and lawyer fees.
So you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for false arrest. He didn't arrest you. The police arrested you. And the police arrested you based upon what they believed, after looking at that video, was probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to believe you participated in the commission of that crime, which is vandalism. He didn't make a citizen's arrest. The police made an arrest. And not only did they make an arrest, but they were serious enough to have you get a lawyer. Your counsel went in. I assume your new counsel asked for an adjournment. I assume your new counsel, you were there.
I believe so. I was not there, ma'am. I waited out in the hall and my lawyer represented me.
Fine. So I assume that you knew that your lawyer was going to ask for an adjournment. The lawyer didn't prepare you for trial, did he?
No.
No.
Your Honor.
So he was, I'm not listening to you.
As a witness, can I just say something?
About what?
The trend that another gentleman, he tried to accuse of scratching his car. We have evidence of that.
Just a second. That I'll listen to in a minute.
Okay.
The second time your case was on, did you go into court or did you wait outside?
I waited outside.
Then if you waited outside, you knew again your lawyer was going to ask for an adjournment. The first time the case was on, did you attend the court hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you inside the court?
Yes, ma'am.
She was not there.
She was outside. Yes, ma'am.
The second time when the case was adjourned, were you in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she there?
Yes, ma'am.
Outside or inside?
She was outside.
Did her lawyer ask for an adjournment?
Continuance.
A continuance?
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it happen more than twice?
Yes.
On the third time you went to court, did you go to court?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Inside or outside?
She was outside, and what happened, I had sold the house, and we moved an hour away.
Just a second. You were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I'm going to let you stand up now, and you're going to show me where he accused somebody else of keying his car in the back in January. Show me.
Nancy's husband, Jerry, rises.
No.
He tries to approach the bench. Judy waves him back, then Kevin comes and collects a document from him and brings it to her.
Well, this says that on January 18th, which was 4 days before this incident, you reported another vandalism to a Nissan Titan.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the car that you saw her key or believe she keyed?
No, ma'am, that's a different vehicle.
That's what I thought. That's a different vehicle. That has nothing to do with this car.
Well, the gentleman that he accused of, he didn't even have arrested or didn't want to press charges.
Just a second. Okay, so now I'm going to let you stand up. And I'm going to give you my end of the riot act, because if this is what you're deluding yourself with, I'm going to tell you, he didn't have video of anybody on the 18th around his car. In your wife's case, sir, he had prior experience with her. She had no business walking right in front of the house when there are plenty of other places to walk. If they are not on great terms, he had every right to call the police, show them the video, and they had every right to arrest her. Do you understand that?
I understand that, but
Good.
that
This
doesn't
has
prove
nothing.
that she scratched the vehicle. That doesn't prove that.
Just a second. That's what a trial is for, sir. That was up to a jury. What your wife is suing him for is for false arrest. He didn't arrest her. The police arrested her. Now sit.
Jerry sits.
May I see the invoice? Have you had the car
Yes,
fixed?
ma'am, I have an estimate, and I also have the police report.
I'd like to see both. I'd like to see both.
Zachary hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
So the police officer indicated that after you were told about what the officer saw on the video, you decided to make no more statements about the incident, and you were placed under arrest for malicious damage. The officer also reported that the scratch on the back of the car was fresh because there were fresh paint chips on the street that were red paint chips. There's a red car that came off that car, which demonstrates to the eyes of any layperson that since there's traffic back and forth there, if there are fresh scratches and fresh paint, it means it just happened. So your counterclaim for false arrest and anything attendant thereto is dismissed.
I did not do it, Your Honor.
Right, well, okay, maybe the case was dismissed. That doesn't mean you're entitled to money from him. Police had probable cause to believe that a crime was committed and probable cause to believe that you committed that crime. The rest of it is up to a jury. So you have a beef with the police department, not with him. They had an absolute right to arrest you. I'm not giving you $2,500 for this scratch, sir. Get it out of your mind. Do you understand?
Why not?
It's not a $2,500 scratch.
I mean, that's an estimate from a...
$500. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Nancy, then Zachary.
Well, she was incorrect because I did not do it.
You know, we took an oath when we went inside to tell the truth, and she lied repeatedly, and she got mad at me when I said that's a lie, but it was a lie.
That he saw me walking by and looked at the car and said, oh.
The next day I called the police to see what happened, and they informed me they arrested her.
I thought they were there because I had called about him harassing me, and then all of a sudden they just said, you scratched his car. And I said, no, I didn't.
I think she should have stayed in jail longer.
They placed me in custody.
The lady does nothing but lie. She's a liar.
It was horrible.
In chambers, Judy with Sarah.
I actually thought his behavior when the defendant brought her granddaughter over subsequently and said, can't she play? Because evidently there are 2 or 3 kids who live close by and they always played together. All of a sudden, the granddaughter is excluded from that play. There's a certain amount, as a parent, he should have had some sense of that and said, well, of course they could play, but your daughter owes me an apology. You know, if you're behaving like an adult, your daughter owes me an apology. I tried to do a responsible thing. I didn't want to let my son watch more than one stranger child in a pool, which is absolutely smart because, God forbid, something happened to one of those children, they would certainly turn around and sue him.
Yeah.
So he did the responsible thing. Was it hurtful to the other child? Yes. According to him, his daughter was playing at Patrick's house. Mm-hmm. She came over and said, you can't come. Because they're little children. Mm-hmm. They don't understand. You can't come. Only one person can come. But you're a grown-up. So understand how that could be hurtful to an 8-year-old. Anyway, I think that they both behaved badly, and he's very smart to have moved out of that.
Out of the cul-de-sac, out of the neighborhood.
Yeah, could you understand why she would walk her dog there?
Yeah, see, I agreed with you that if you've already had even just a hint of distaste with any of your neighbors, I just walk on the other side of the street, just avoid it, and this seems like
And alone.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2102, Peterson versus Stewart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Joy.
Miss Peterson, you and Mr. Stewart met online? Yes. You met Mr. Stewart, and according to your complaint, a romance developed, and there are 2 things that you believe, now that the romance is over, that he owes you. One of them is a loan that you made to him for $1,000. Now, Mr. Stewart does not deny that you gave him $1,000, correct?
No, ma'am.
Your defense is that it was a gift.
Correct.
And not made as a loan. Okay. On what date did you and Miss Peterson start to date?
We never dated. We actually wasn't through no dating site. Just somehow, coincidence, we came through.
Did you see her?
I met her once in person.
When?
When she paid for a hotel for my birthday.
Give me the date.
January 30th.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So you met for the first time in January of 2022. Tell me about the $1,000. If you're playing with your papers, you're not going to hear where we're going. Okay.
The $1,000 at that time, I was been struggling with heart disease, which I just got out the hospital for having a heart surgery last Friday. So financially, my dealership was a little bit under the burden. So I asked her if she would help me.
And when did you ask her? Was that in January?
No, man. That's a couple months later.
All right. So that would be in March.
Yeah,
And the only time that you ever met her was in January.
I met her once, other than that, when she gave me the money. Other than that, it was just normally her texting me, how you doing? Do you want to meet up?
Okay, so you met personally twice.
Correct.
And after January, you didn't see each other personally, just by messages, and that's when you asked her for money. And you were going to tell me why in March you asked her for money. I understand that you just recently came out of the hospital, and while I'm happy to see you looking well and healthy, it's really irrelevant to this case.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why did you ask her for $1,000?
Because she offered to help me.
No. Nobody offers to help you unless they know that you need help.
Well, it's in writing.
No, nobody offers to help you unless you let them know that you need help.
I was kind of life coaching her. We both was going back and forth. We had an open line of communication, so I kind of got comfortable to ask. So I see what you're saying.
Got comfortable to ask?
She already gave me money before that 1,000. That's why I was comfortable.
Just a second. I'm talking about the loan. I want you to tell me, since you acknowledge that she gave you the money, tell me why you needed it.
Well, I needed it because I paid for the trip, which was $2,180, which she gave me $2,000 plus $160 more for luggage. Came to just shy of $2,400.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, she's already came to me and gave me money for us to take this little trip together.
What does that have to do with this $1,000? That's not what I'm talking about.
Because she was supposed to come and reimburse some of the money because I paid already into the trip. So I was asking her for money.
Am I crazy? Did he start to talk about his business needing money? He has a used car business?
Yes.
Really, before you come on a program like this, you should really watch so that you would know that one of my favorite sayings is, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory, especially if you're smart. Now, if you're not so smart, and within 3 minutes you tell two different stories, that, Mr. Stewart, is a phrase that you should learn to live by. If you tell the truth, you don't need a good memory.
That's not correct, Your Honor.
Well, that's only because you wouldn't know the truth, because you have been introduced to the truth.
He says, the $1,000 at that time, I was struggling with heart disease, which I just got out of the hospital for having a heart surgery last Friday. So actually, my dealership is a little bit under the burden, so I asked her if she would help me.
So you remember saying that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's different from she was paying me back. You just have to acknowledge that it's different. Okay, and let me tell you what you swore to in your answer. She offered to help me catch up on my child support.
On a phone conversation, yes.
I just asked you one simple question, sir. You acknowledged she gave you $1,000. What was it for? So now I have 3 reasons. 1, your car dealership was a little bit of a burden. 2, she was returning your money to you. And 3, you were catching up on your child support. Those are the 3 things that I have in front of me.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
Whichever one you would like, ma'am.
So far it's $1,000 for the plaintiff. Now, whether it was for school or whether it was for your children's support, she's not responsible for your children's support. You're responsible for your children's support. Have you ever met his children?
No.
She doesn't even know your children.
No.
Do you have a child support order?
No. She asked me to marry her.
Just a sec. I asked you a question,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
her. Do you have children? The answer is
Yes, I have children. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Caption coming up.
This is not a dance.
No, I'm just
This is
saying.
not a dance.
Yes, ma'am.
You lead, I lead, I always lead.
Yes, ma'am.
Later,
You had some trouble with your finances, and you had serious debt. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a credit collections agent.
Not a good thing when you're a credit collections agent.
A woman grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Joy and James.
Joy Peterson claims her ex-boyfriend, James Stewart, owes for travel costs and a loan.
Now, the children do not live with you.
They're above age. Yes, ma'am.
When you swore in your answer that you had gotten behind in your child support order, what child support order was that?
It's the last child because I got behind because I was out of work. So they're above age, but I owe a little arrears.
Okay, so that's the child support that you were behind. Had you been noticed to come to court on those arrears?
I've never been in contempt. No, ma'am. I've always kept a good standings with them.
Okay, but you're behind now.
Yes,
You were behind then in March.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you knew you were behind because?
I was on bed rest for 5 months due to a knee surgery and some heart issues.
Okay, did you request that your child support order that was on arrears only be stayed while you weren't working?
I got a new caseworker, wasn't willing to work with me at that time, so.
Okay, so that was difficult. Your caseworker was involved in this child support order. That sounds better. And the child support order was in favor of the state?
I don't owe the state no money. I paid all fees off with them. I just owe the back child support.
To the mother of the children?
Yes.
Okay, $1,000. Now, I'm going to come to you. According to you, you gave the defendant $2,000 to buy travel tickets for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
When?
I gave him money in March.
At the same time that you gave him the $1,000?
No, ma'am. That was in April.
Show me proof of that. And I want to see $2,000 taken out from someplace for him to pay for these tickets. And they were tickets for you to go from where you live, which is where?
Springfield, Ohio.
To Miami.
Yes, ma'am.
The $2,000 was in March. What were you going to do in March?
In March, I gave him the $2,000 to purchase tickets because I asked him, can you get discounts for us to go to Miami because I was going to have surgery. So he told me yes, sure. So I gave him the $2,000 for that.
That's not.
Then he said, well, that's going to be more than that. I said, well, that's all I have for the tickets for me and my daughters. He said he wanted to go, so he was planning on going.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did she give you the $2,000 to buy the tickets?
It was early March. She could.
Yeah, March, it looks like March 25th. She gave you $2,000. And when were you supposed to go to Miami?
We were supposed to go July 4th and she.
Okay, just a second. You're supposed to go in July. So you're talking about 4 months later.
Yeah, she canceled the trip.
Okay. When did she cancel the trip?
She canceled the trip about a month later.
So she canceled the trip in April?
Yeah, and it was a third party, so it's non-refundable.
I don't know that at all.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, just a second. So you're going to have to show me.
I didn't borrow it.
You borrowed the $1,000. I didn't say you borrowed this $2,000. She gave you money for a specific purpose.
Right, she went.
Don't speak. She gave you money for a specific purpose to purchase airline tickets.
For us.
Which you... I don't give a rat's behind for who. She gave you money to purchase.
As I did.
Airline tickets.
As I did.
This is not a dance.
No, I'm just.
This is
saying I
not
did.
you lead, I lead, you. I always lead.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I always lead.
Yes, ma'am.
She gave you $2,000 to buy tickets that you acknowledge. The trip was canceled 3 months before the trip. Now, you say they were non-refundable tickets.
Yes, ma'am.
Show me. I just want to see where you tried to get either a refund or a credit 3 months. And I don't speak. You have to show me, because you just said the tickets were non-refundable tickets and I could neither get money back for them when she canceled it or a credit. And I said, in all that paperwork, show me.
It's just public knowledge on their website. I apologize, I do not have it.
It's not public knowledge on any website. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. $1,000 loan, $2,000 for the tickets. We're finished here. Thank you very much. Out!
This court is
out!
She wanted to go on a vacation.
Taking advantage of me.
She was being a little aggressive.
Don't even look that way.
Now, hopefully, we can just move on with our lives.
Sarah.
I think we should print that on cards to hand out to people as they leave here. If you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
That was pretty funny.
That defendant in the first 15 seconds told 3 different stories about the same $1,000. Reminded me of a toddler when you ask if they had cookies and it's all over their mouth and they say, no, I didn't have chocolate, I didn't have candy. 15 seconds, 3 different stories. So if you tell the truth,
you don't need a good memory.
Not at all.
Case 2158, Smith versus Crosley. All parties, please step forward.
Justin Smith is suing his ex-girlfriend, Jessica Crosley, for an unpaid loan.
Ms. Crosley, I'm going to start with you. You and Mr. Smith were in a romantic relationship for a period of time.
Yes.
From when to when?
I want to say it was about a year before my son was born. My son was born February 11th, 2019, and our relationship ended about 4 or 5 months after he was born.
And after you separated, according to what I read, you sort of remained friends.
Yes.
Great. You had some trouble with your finances, and you had serious debt. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a credit collections agent.
Not a good thing when you're a credit collections agent. And this was after you had already been separated for a long period of time. And at some point, what I'm piecing together is you discussed your financial circumstances with Mr. Smith.
Yes.
And one of your options was to seek protection in bankruptcy.
Correct.
And Mr. Smith thought that that was a bad idea.
Yes.
So he suggested that you take out a loan, consolidate all this debt, which was on, I assume, on credit cards with very high interest. And since he had credit, he would take out the loan and you would pay that loan off, which was manageable every month. Is that generally what this is about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Caption coming up.
His behavior had started getting irrational, scary, started calling me a lot, asking my whereabouts, texting me, driving by my house on several occasions I saw.
I'm still not understanding why you stopped paying on the loan.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Justin and Jessica.
Justin Smith claims his ex-girlfriend, Jessica Crosley, owes for an unpaid loan.
Mr. Smith did take out that loan, month and year.
March of 2022, this year.
What were the payments each month, starting in March or April, principal and interest?
He had told me that it was $500.
Told you they were $500. He took out that loan, and am I correct, Ms. Crosley, that you paid off your credit card debt?
Yes.
And you paid off your debt with the loan that he took out?
Yes.
And you did, in fact, create a situation where the money, because you were employed, would come out directly from your bank account to go to pay off the loan to his bank account?
Yes.
And you did that in what month?
That was started, I believe, at the end of April or beginning of May.
And how many such payments did you make?
Biweekly payments, I believe I made about 6.
Thereby acknowledging that this was a loan. At some point, you stopped making the payments. What month did you stop making the payments?
In July of this year.
Why?
So I had started seeing my current boyfriend.
This is not a social show. Just tell me why.
So I had to take a day off of work to file for an order of protection.
Why did you have to take a day off from work to file for an order of protection?
Because I was advised to by a police officer I spoke to.
Okay, and I assume against him?
Yes.
Okay, give me the incident.
Okay, so in July, when I started seeing my current boyfriend, Justin had expressed that he wanted us to get back together, and I had told him no, that was not going to happen. And then his behavior had started getting irrational, scary, started calling me a lot, asking my whereabouts, texting me, driving by my house on several occasions I saw. And then there was an incident on July 19th where I had allowed his mother to take my son to a play. And she was supposed to drop him off back to me, and instead of dropping him back off to me, she had dropped him off with his father at his work. And then I got a call from Justin yelling, saying, "Where are you? What are you doing right now?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on my way back home. Your mom's supposed to drop off Braden." He's like, "I have Braden. I'll meet you at your house." So I said, okay. We got to outside my house, and then he pulled up next to me and then started screaming out of the car, like, "Where were you? What were you doing?" I was like, "I was spending time with Anthony, my boyfriend." And he's like, "I'm taking Braden. I'm not gonna give him back to you." And my son's crying in the back seat. And I said, "No, you give him back to me. It is my day to have him." And he drove away. He later called me and said I could meet them at Dairy Queen. So I met them there. I got out of the car. I went up to my son. And as I was getting him in the car, Justin had walked up to my car and started yelling and swearing at me. And as me and my son started driving off, he threw a milkshake at my car, which scared me and my son very much.
Okay, good. And you filed for an order of protection. You had a trial on the order of protection, yes. And the judge dismissed your order of protection.
Yes.
After the trial.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm still not understanding why you stopped paying on the loan.
So when I had lost my job.
You lost your job when?
The next day. The incident happened on the 19th. I had to take the 20th off to file for the order of protection. The 21st, I was let go.
Oh, that had nothing to do with you being let go. Nothing. I just want to know why you stopped paying on the loan. You stopped paying on the loan because you lost your job? Are you working now?
Yes, I just started working.
Well, did you start paying him back?
No. So also in July, when all these incidents happened, Justin had stopped paying for daycare, which was our agreed upon child support payment. We don't have a court order for child support, but he had been paying all of daycare. I cover all of his other finances.
So that was an agreement that you had, that he would pay for daycare?
Yes.
Okay, and he stopped paying in July?
Yes, he started only paying half of daycare.
Okay, so let's go back. He started paying for half?
Yes.
How much was he supposed to pay per month?
$560 was the full amount of daycare each month.
Okay, and he had been paying that. In July, he cut it down to?
To 270, I believe. 80.
Okay, so he wasn't completely not paying. He was paying part of it.
Correct.
Tell me why you cut the payments in half, because you have a counterclaim for that.
Yeah. So in July, we started a custody case for full custody of our son.
You're talking in July. Who started the custody case?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. Did you retain a lawyer?
I did.
Is that case still ongoing?
It is.
Well, then I'm not entertaining anything about the daycare because you have that case in family court. The court there will make a determination as far as future child support and whether or not this daycare should have been paid. So you have no reason for not paying the loan.
I was planning on filing bankruptcy.
Okay, but you didn't. You didn't file for bankruptcy. You did the smart thing. How much is left on the loan?
It's in excess of $12,000 or $11,000.
What interest rate is on that loan, by the way?
36%, I believe. Current balance as of November 30th, $12,631.
How is a 30% loan better than her credit cards?
She had some loans in excess of 800%.
From whom?
Or over 500%. These were online lenders.
Okay, you have a counterclaim. Harassment, daycare costs is out. Lost wages because you say you had to take a day off to file a protective order and you were fired? Nonsense. Harassment, let's hear it. And don't go back to anything that you told the judge during the hearing that you had where he dismissed your application for an order of protection.
Okay, well, that order of protections.
Okay,
that was.
They're just shh. Well, if that's testimony, it's already been adjudicated. A judge, using the same measure of proof that I would use, dismissed your case, so I'm not relitigating that case. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I believe he was angry that I started a relationship with somebody.
I think the restraining order was part of her defense as to why she didn't want to pay me back anymore.
I was ready to file bankruptcy and he had offered to take it out for me.
You know, at the end of the day, the loan is still agreed upon and still needs to be repaid.
Sarah.
I think that that's a good lesson, that you can't use the court systems and restraining orders to get out of a loan that you have really no excuse for not paying except for you lost your job, and I just think it's tricky. I think that a lot of defendants come in here and think that
extortion, and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2156, Heckendorf versus Zaragoza.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Hickendorf, who is this gentleman?
This was an attorney I hired in Mexico, kind of in the middle of the night when...
He's an attorney?
In Mexico.
Okay.
And my witness.
Okay, so trying to piece this complaint and answer together. You purchased a home from Mr. Zaragoza?
No, Your Honor.
He purchased a home from you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. He purchased a home from you in Mexico?
Yes.
Where in Mexico?
About 5 miles north of Rosarito, maybe 10 miles south of the border.
How long have you owned the home?
I owned the home about 5 years.
How much did you pay for it?
When I bought it was $180.
How much did Mr. Zaragoza pay for the house?
$245.
On what date did he purchase the house?
February the 9th.
Were you present at the closing of the house?
I was.
When you closed on the house on February 9th, how much money did you receive?
I was supposed to receive...
No. You were supposed to receive $245,000. How much did you receive?
I received a cashier's check for $15,000.
15?
$15,000. I received cash, $4,500, and I received the next day through a wire transfer 4.6 million pesos or something like that. I have the paperwork.
Just tell me what that translated to in dollars.
It was $220,500.
Okay, well, if you have proof to how much the translation of pesos to dollars is, that means that you got a total so far without the down payment. Did he give you a down payment?
Yes, $5,000. I was paid for my house. I was paid for my house.
No, I understand that, but this is the problem. Mr. Zarzosa says that when he took out the mortgage, he increased the amount that he was borrowing so that he had closing costs covered to the extent of, I think, $3,800 or $3,900.
It was a total of almost $10,000.
No.
Oh, $3,900.
That's what I asked you. What's 10,000? 10,000 comes out of nowhere. It was a difference, you said, of $3,900.
Yes, ma'am.
And so he wanted from you the difference.
Well, the realtor gave me...
Not the realtor. He wanted from you...
The realtor told me that. I've never really spoke to Dante except for on February 22nd and the time that he came and looked at my house. But the realtor sent me a fake statement, which I looked at because it's a high school kid's piece of paper, and I said I was not making a refund.
Okay, well, you have to make a refund if you were paid more for the house than you're bargained for with the purchaser.
That's true.
That's true.
And the bank told me on April 1st.
No, they can't tell you anything.
Oh, really?
If they documented something to you, then I'll read it, but you can't tell me what a bank told you. First of all, banks don't speak. Now, I'd like you to get what Mr. Zarzosa is handing me.
This is from the bank.
Dante hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
Well, I can't read this, but what I can't read is in Spanish, but I can read the numbers which indicate that you received, Ms. Heckendorf, a total of $249,544.22. Let me see.
May I see that, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Because this is what that bank gave me right here.
Kevin hands a document to Karen.
And I did go with my witness to the bank on April 1st, and they told me that
The bank can't tell you anything.
They told me that was the correct amount.
A bank can't tell you. They can give you a document, which I will read, but a bank can't tell you anything.
This is not really a case about this contract.
Yeah, it is. It started this way.
They're saying that that bank sent me the wrong amount of money?
Yes. That's what it says. That's what that says.
That's what this says.
That's what that says.
I imagine anyone can write what they want, but I was not paid the wrong amount of money.
Well, the bottom line of it was, eventually you gave him back $2,800 of the $39,000 that he said that he was entitled to. Is that correct?
No.
Ms. Heckendorf?
No.
You never gave him $2,800?
I signed a contract and gave him $2,800 under duress. He took my dogs and my cat, and he took my property.
I want you to understand what I'm saying to you. When I ask you a question, I expect an answer. You gave him $2,800, and you gave him the $2,800 because he believed and told you that he had taken out extra money in order to cover his closing costs. And you got that money, and he wanted that money back because he was going to have to pay for it through his mortgage.
I have never heard that these were closing costs. This is the first I've heard about closing
Well, I'm going to tell you this.
I'm going to never heard about closing costs.
Stop talking. Stop talking.
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
And I'm keeping it very simple.
Okay.
You're going to want to keep it very complicated, and I, madam, are going to keep it very simple. So the bottom line is you stayed in the house for free.
The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Karen and Dante.
Karen Heckendorf claims her homebuyer, Dante Zarzosa, extorted money by keeping her pets in property. Dante is countersuing for false accusations and lost wages.
Good. This is your piece of evidence. Your piece of evidence says that you got $249,544.22.
No.
That's what it says.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, that's what it says. You gave him $2,800. He wanted $3,900. You gave him $2,800. What you're suing him for
He also
is...
wanted $2,500.
I'm going to dismiss your case.
Okay.
It's just as easy for me to send you back to Mexico. Once you closed on this house, according to what I looked at, Ms. Heckendorf, you asked if you could stay in the house because your new house wasn't ready to close escrow. Is that correct? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
And so you closed the house on February 9th, and he allowed you to stay in the house. When were you supposed to vacate the house?
March the 1st, I paid
Just that's a date, March 1st. And between February 9th and March 1st, how much did you pay him in rent?
I gave him the money from the casita.
Just a second.
Yes.
That's an amount between February 9th and March 1st.
$2,370.
So that was a month's rent. Is that what you received?
No, Your Honor.
How much did she pay you in rent between February 9th and when she was supposed to vacate March 1st? She would have paid you rent in advance.
Nothing.
Show me proof that you paid him anything for rent on February 9th.
Karen hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Did you ever receive from this agent $2,370?
No, Your Honor.
Well, do you know who he is?
Yes, I do know. That's the realtor that represented both of us on the purchase.
And you never received, this was on February 9th. He acknowledges, he signed that he received $1,620 as in for the last month's rent and $750 security deposit, as well as prorated rent of $120. I don't know what prorated rent is for.
It was for the end of January. They moved in a few days before.
Who moved in?
The people that rented the casita.
And that's part of the house?
Yes.
What is that?
I have two houses on the property, the one I lived in and the casita. And Dante gave me an email that if I gave him this money from the casita, that I could live in the front house until March the 1st. I have that
Just a
email.
second. When he bought the house, did he or did he not buy the casita as well?
Yes, he did.
So he bought the casita as well. So it belonged to him. This rent belonged to him.
Only
So
if I
what do you mean?
rented
He's
it.
not giving you anything. If he buys a house and there's another property, he owns that property. He owns whatever rent was due for that property. So what you're saying is, let me cut to the chase. What you're saying is, you claim, he said to you, I've just paid you $250,000 for your house, which includes the casita. Your house isn't ready yet to close escrow. I will let you stay in the house free if you let me keep the money from the casita's rent.
Yes.
Oh,
And I have
fine.
an
So that
email.
the bottom line, don't speak, it doesn't look like you're losing so
And-
far. I may not be finished with you.
And
So
I hadn't rented
you're
the
speaking,
casita.
you're trying to speak over me.
Well-
And I'm keeping it very simple.
Okay.
You're going to want to keep it very complicated, and I, madam, are going to keep it very simple. So the bottom line is you stayed in the house for free from February 9th or 10th until it was supposed to be until March 1st. That was your understanding. You were staying in his house for free.
I didn't have to rent the casita.
I don't care whether you had to or whether you didn't have to. You were staying in your house that you sold to him for free until your new house was ready. That's a yes.
I felt that.
I
but
don't care
guess
how
if
you
wanna
feel.
look at it
I
that
don't
way-
care how you feel.
Okay.
You sold him your property and you took advantage of a piece of that property, the casita, in order to negotiate yourself a free 3-week rent until your house is ready. Now, you may stand there and look at me in that smug way, but you and I both know that that was a deal you made for yourself.
Yes, I agreed.
Okay.
I agreed to rent the casita ahead of time before I moved out and give him the money so that I could stay in the property until my house closed escrow 1 week.
Pretty tricky.
May have been March the 6th.
Pretty tricky. Bottom line is you stayed in his house for free.
Okay.
And then what the rest of the case is about is that you claim that he changed the locks on the door before March 1st, and in the house you had your pets. And he held ransom your pets until you gave him what turned out to be $2,800. That's your complaint. He changed the locks on February 28th. Where were you when he changed the locks?
February 22nd.
22. Where were you when he changed the
I was
lock?
in my office in San Diego.
Okay, and how did you find out that the locks were changed on the door?
Dante sent me an email that I found later admitting to what he did, but
No, I asked you a question.
I was at my office, and he called me on the phone, and he said, "This is Dante Zarzosa," and I had...
My way. He called you in the office. That's how you found out he changed the locks. That's an answer. Approximately what time did he call you in your office?
It was about 6:30, 6:45 in the evening.
6:30 p.m. And tell me what you claim he said to you and what you said to him.
This is Dante Zarzosa. I have your 2 dogs. You're never going to see them again if you don't pay me $3,900.
Now, that wasn't the first time you had heard about this $3,900. That was not the first time.
I heard about it on February the 9th. No, the 8th. Sorry, February the 8th, I'd heard about it.
And so you told him after that you would, or you told him, or you told your lawyer, is that you? Now you can stand up.
I met him...
Shh, don't speak.
Okay.
Caption, coming up.
On what date did you get your pets back?
Well, I didn't actually get them. My friends went and begged for the animals.
Don't tell me what they did.
They gave them and they gave them to my...
Stop, please.
Sit.
Karen's lawyer sits. Whitney smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Karen and Dante.
Karen Heckendorf has accused her homebuyer, Dante Zarzosa, of extortion by threatening her pets. Dante claims Karen owes him for making false accusations.
Your last name, sir, is?
Mena, Your Honor.
Mena. Mr. Mena, you're an attorney in Mexico?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a real estate attorney?
Yes, civil attorney, real estate as well.
You understand what this is about, and you understand if you're a real estate attorney, that sometimes people take a mortgage that's beyond what they need in order to cover their closing costs. You understand that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's not an unusual thing. I bought and sold many homes. A lot of people do that. And when were you first made aware of the fact that the defendant was at least claiming that there was an amount that he had incurred debt on by way of a mortgage in excess of what your client in Mexico was supposed to receive in the amount of $3,900?
February the 22nd, something like that.
2/22. And when she came to your office, now we no longer have attorney-client privilege, sir, because she's brought you here as a witness, so you're going to testify to every conversation that you have.
Absolutely, yes.
You understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay. She came to your office after she found out that the locks were changed.
Actually, I was at home. That was at night.
So when for the first time, sir, did you hear about this money that the defendant was claiming that he was owed?
Mr. Dante called me.
I want you to answer my question.
Yes.
My question is, when she called you the night of the 22nd at your home, did she tell you at that time or soon thereafter that there was a discrepancy that he was alleging with regard to the closing fees?
Not actually, no.
She didn't tell you anything. She told you that he just illegally evicted her and changed the locks.
Yes, and at the same time, because of some situations regarding a deal she has on the sale of the property.
Your client knew as of February 8th that the defendant was alleging that she owed him money from the closing costs. That's clear. That's what she told me. Now, they had clearly ongoing discussions about this from February 8th or 9th, when the deal closed and she got her money and she's living rent-free. So what I want to know, when did she share with you, not that there was an illegal eviction, not that her pets were in the house, when did she share with you that he was claiming that she owed him money? And I'm not excusing self-help. When did she tell you that? Because she knew it at the beginning. She knew it before she called you.
I have the communication from Mrs. Karen. At the time we filed a complaint in the DA office, district attorney office. This is the time when she expressed me the whole facts.
Oh, so she didn't tell you the whole facts when she called you at home on the 22nd?
No, because she was very worried. She was concerned regarding the babies.
Don't tell me that.
That's it.
Now I got it. So I got what you're dealing with. I understand who I'm dealing with. Okay. On what date did you get your pets back, Miss Heckendorf?
The 22nd.
Okay. What time?
Well, I didn't actually get them. I got them the next day because my friends went and begged for the animals.
Don't tell me what they did.
They gave them to my...
Stop, please.
Sit.
The lawyer sits.
I just asked you when you got your animals back. So you got your animals back on the same day as he changed the locks on the house. They were given to friends.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So they were returned to you the same day because if they were given to your friends at your direction, your friends were your agents.
Yes.
Good.
Only the dogs. He had my cat the next day.
Did you have a cat or is it an outside cat? Is it an outside cat?
Outside cat that lives indoors, and they
Okay,
put
it's
the
an outs-
doggy door down so the cat couldn't get out.
Okay.
He told me he had my cat.
Okay. When did you give him the $2,800?
About 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the 23rd.
Is there a writing of the exchange of that money? I'd like to see it.
Dante hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
I can't read this.
The plaintiff has a translated version.
Can I see the translated copy, please?
Can I speak?
About what?
About that paper?
Yeah.
He was the one that drew it up. He could tell you, Your Honor,
No. I want this. Did you draw this up?
Can I see it?
Yeah, sure. Kevin, give it to him.
Kevin brings the document to the lawyer.
Did you draw that?
Yes, I participated.
What does it tell me?
It's translated.
Don't speak. Do you have the translation of this document?
Yes, I gave it to you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, number 5, very clear. This is the agreement that Mr. Zarzosa receives from Ms. Heckendorf $2,800 for concept of refund of pending payment. The previous amount is received fully. Therefore, the debt is liquidated. And number 6, the seller, Ms. Karen Heckendorf, grants the broadest waiver derived from the investigation file presented before the district attorney's office. I assume that that was your complaint, and with a file number filed against Mr. Zarzosa by not keeping any legal action present, past or future, derived from the present business.
This is the police report they're talking about.
I don't care what this says, is you've settled all of your disputes with each other. This says you've settled everything that had to be settled. Okay, but what the translation suggests is by this document, each of you understood that you were giving him money. He was not going to follow through with anything that had to do with the criminal complaint or with a criminal complaint against him. You went your own merry way. Am I crazy, or is that what this document says, sir? You are the lawyer.
Yes, it says so.
That's what it says so. So I want to know why you're all here bothering me. You settled everything. You got back your stuff. You got out of your house. You got your personal property. He has a counterclaim for false accusations and loss of wages as a result of whatever. This document says you've resolved everything with each other. So why are you here?
I did not sign that document under usual circumstances. I hadn't had any sleep, and I was coerced. And he said he was going to burn my furniture or he was going to sell it in the year that it would take me to prosecute him under this Mexican contract.
Put it down, sir. The case is over.
If he wanted to
The case
sue
is
me,
over. You're a pretty savvy lady, madam. You had an attorney that you consulted. He was there when this document was signed.
It wasn't a real estate deal.
He was here
He
when
was
the-
only on this
Goodbye.
deal
We're
in the
done.
middle of the
Case is
night.
dismissed. So is your counterclaim.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Karen, then Dante.
this was really a case about Dante taking my animals for hostage and extortion.
I didn't steal anything.
The only reason I agreed to give him $2,800 was because he said he was going to burn or sell my furniture.
I'm gonna enjoy my house. Thank you, Karen.
Judy and Sarah.
That lady was never intimidated into anything.
I don't think so either.
She knew she had gotten an extra few bucks at the closing. She knew that she was really living there rent-free, which is really...
For property damage to his house from a car accident.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Hello, Judge. Case 2157, Davis versus Bigham.
Judy turns to Micaiah.
Miss Bingham.
Yes, ma'am.
You hit Mr. Davis's house.
This is wall, retaining wall.
Wall.
Yes, ma'am.
You hit his wall.
Yes, ma'am.
With your car.
Yes, ma'am.
It damaged his wall. His wall didn't move. His wall didn't come up on you. And you were at home at the time.
No, ma'am, I was actually away.
Okay, so you didn't see what happened.
Did not visually witness the incident.
Okay.
just the damage after.
Who did?
There were several neighbors. One of my neighbors called
You don't
me.
just, you have no witnesses here today.
I do not have any witnesses with me today. They could not.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Jimmy produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Thank you. Accident happened on September 22nd. Whose car were you driving?
It was my car. My dad bought it for me.
When?
Last year. Sometime.
What kind of car is it?
2012 Nissan Altima.
You have insurance on the car?
I have insurance.
Did you have insurance, and you're going to tell me with whom, because that you can check, on September 22nd of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
With whom?
Direct.
Okay, let me see that you had insurance. Do you have proof that you had insurance on the car?
Well, I have the policy.
Were you current on payments for the policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you had insurance. I'm just wondering why your insurance didn't cover this accident. No.
Micaiah nods.
What time did you hit his wall on the 22nd?
It was around 4:30, 4:45-ish.
In the afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you going?
I was on the way to pick up my uncle to go to my son's football game.
Okay, so Miss Bingham, tell me what happened.
I was getting off the interstate. I turned right. I was coming up to the light. As I was going to the light, I never seen the car.
Go to the chart and explain it to me.
Okay, so this is 28th. I got up the interstate. This is me driving straight to the light. As I was going straight, just how it happened, a car comes out from over here, Haley Park. It hits me. It caused me to go left, but I was in this lane. I was in this lane. It was going to cause me to go left and hit the cars in these lanes. So I turned right and I ended up in his yard to avoid a collision.
Do you have photographs of the rear damage to your car?
It's right here, but you can't see. I guess they cropped out most of it.
I want to see the damage to the right
If I may,
driver's side. Yes,
I have some photos that might be helpful.
I'd like to see them.
Jimmy produces photos.
These are the car, and these are other damages as well.
Kevin brings the photos to Judy, who reviews images of a car in the front yard of a house.
So it appears that someone hit her car on the driver's rear panel.
Yes, ma'am.
And took off.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you own this home, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And there's no question that you swerved in and damaged his property?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you try to contact her insurance company?
I did.
You went home, you were called, came from wherever you were from work, you came home, you took a look at it, car was still there when you got home?
No, ma'am. The car was removed. My neighbor was able to put me on the phone with Micaiah and the police officer, so I was able to get that information. Immediately, when returning home, I reached out to submit the photos that I had taken myself and submit the police report after obtaining it. It took, quite a considerable amount of time to get back with me, but when I reached out again to understand the status, they, said that she's not liable and they were not going to stand behind it.
Can I see what they sent to you? Did they send something to you?
They did send a letter.
I'd like to see it.
I do not have that letter with me, but I actually called to speak with them.
You said they sent you a letter.
Yes, ma'am.
And where is it?
I don't have the letter. It was a denial letter.
That said it was not her fault.
It did not say it was her fault, but they said they could not submit the claim due to, I guess, whatever insurance she had, whatever coverage she had, the amount of coverage.
Oh, no, that's a different story. You see, that's why I need the letter.
Okay.
Either they said that they're denying the claim because it wasn't her fault, or they denied the claim because she had no insurance to cover it.
The letter also indicated, of course, reaching out to the company to speak and discuss it further. So when I did reach out to the point of contact on the letter to understand why they weren't covering it, the amount of coverage that she had did not cover, I guess, property damage. And that was an argument between me and the company. And
well, how much did it cover?
They did not specify.
Oh, well, that's...
They simply denied it and pushed it away and actually hung up on me. So there's no denying the car's there, right?
Yes.
No denying the accident.
No, I do understand you. Do you have homeowner's insurance?
I do have homeowner's insurance.
Did you put it in through your homeowner's insurance?
Consulted homeowner's insurance, and they suggested that I work this out, me personally, instead of taking the hit on my homeowner's insurance as a victim of this accident. So I didn't see that necessary.
Well, Mr. Davis, I sort of disagree with you, sir. And usually that's not the position I take. But if I am to believe Ms. Bingham, and based upon the evidence that you presented to me, it clearly demonstrates that she was hit. Her vehicle was a victim of a hit and run. Her vehicle was hit which caused this accident, there is no indication anywhere in the police reports that she was speeding, that she went through a light.
Based on her own testimony, she swerved in my direction to avoid hitting other cars.
Well, wouldn't that be smart?
Micaiah shakes her head. Caption coming up.
If her insurance didn't cover it, your homeowners will cover it.
My homeowners covers that, and that's a penalty for me, and I'm a victim here.
So is she.
Crossed over.
Just a second. So is she. She can't find the other driver. I mean, it would be different.
That's her responsibility.
No, sir.
And later today,
We would like the 2 kayaks back. Correct. And when did you begin storing them at the defendant's?
I brought them over the next day after I bought them.
Okay, you acknowledge the fact that the plaintiff, who was then your friend, brought them over for you to store. You're not friends anymore. She wants them back. Why not?
A woman shrugs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jimmy and Micaiah.
Jimmy Davis claims motorist Micaiah Begum owes for damage to his house after Micaiah crashed into his yard.
That sounds smart. She didn't want to hit oncoming traffic coming from the other direction.
It was not oncoming traffic. She was in the same lane with the traffic.
If I am to believe her, and your evidence showing that her car was hit in the rear on the driver's side, so I have no reason to doubt her. There was no issue of drugs or alcohol involved. You weren't issued a citation, I assume?
No, ma'am.
No. Then if her insurance didn't cover it, your homeowners will cover it.
Sure.
And you should go through your homeowners.
My homeowners covers that, and that's a penalty for me, and I'm a victim here.
So is she.
Crossed over.
Just a second. So is she.
I understand.
If I am to believe her, and I believe her, so is she.
I understand.
So
but
what I think you have to do is go through your homeowners, not Miss Bingham. She can't find the other driver. I mean, it would be different.
That's her responsibility.
No, sir. She is a victim of a hit and run. She has no way, unless it comes out of her pocket, of compensating you. She has she has no way, unless it's out of her pocket, of compensating you. She has insurance. You have no evidence to give me today as to why her insurance made a decision that they weren't responsible. You don't have that with you today, and it could very well be, as her insurance company determined, that this accident, while tragic, was not her fault. She was, in fact, a victim of a hit and run. You were a byproduct of that. So I'm telling you, go to your homeowners.
Well, let me understand correctly here.
What I'm telling you is, use your homeowners. That's what I would do.
That's you. I mean, that's a lot of other people would have a different decision. A lot of other people would bring it to small claims court and try to dispute that, and that's what.
Well, that's what you're doing, and I'm telling you that you should use your homeowner's insurance because that's what it's for.
Typically, with car insurance, there's property coverage.
You don't have, sir, I'm not accepting your hearsay. You have to prove your case to me. You see, that's your burden. You have to prove your case. I have now made a decision that the accident was not caused by her. She was not
caused by her deciding to swerve into my property.
Are you trying to talk over me?
Just adding a little extra context to it.
It was not caused by substance abuse. It was not caused by speeding. There was no violation given to her. And according to you, she had insurance. So it's up to you to show me why
her insurance,
no, not her policy, why you were told her insurance didn't cover it. You don't have that here. In the event that you give me a letter and the letter said she has liability for a certain amount, but it's not the $5,000 that you're alleging that it will cost to redo this. She only had $2,500. Well, then I would say to you, her insurance should kick in the $2,500, and I'm going to give you the other $2,500. You shouldn't be out of pocket. I would do that. If she determines to underinsure her liability so that she pays less in insurance, then that's on her. Then
the insurance company wouldn't disclose all of that to me.
They sent you a letter and you don't have it.
Denial letter and
no, that's what you're telling me. That's hearsay, sir.
Okay.
That's hearsay. It's not hearsay if you bring it in to show it to me.
Understood.
So what I'm telling you is this is an incident where, in my judgment, you have two innocent people who were both victims of an irresponsible driver. And if her insurance company, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, that's for her to take up with her insurance company. I don't know whether she's underinsured or whether they determined, after looking at the same things that I determined, that the accident wasn't her fault. So you can't tell me what they wrote because you didn't bring that letter. And we're talking about something that you got a month ago.
Understood.
Okay, good. Then you go through then go through your homeowners because your case is dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Jimmy, then Micaiah.
The defendant says she chose to drive into my house instead of hitting another car. Both are equally as dangerous, and that cost me.
I didn't want to hit 5 or 6 other cars, so I just did what I thought was best.
You know, I found out because it's a very public street. Many people know that community, so people reached out.
It was just everything happened so fast. I can't explain the energy. It was just like, I'm stuck. You know, my car just got stuck, and I was just like, hey, I'm just glad I didn't hurt anybody else.
Because they saw that it was a very horrible accident.
That's all. I was happy I was still here. Not the car, not the house, me. I'm glad I'm still here to go home my son.
Sarah and Judy.
No, the plaintiff really hurt himself with those photos of the defendant's car, and he didn't even notice. I don't think he even notices still. But she had no proof in front of her, no papers, no photos of what her car looked like, so she would have no way of showing that the accident was not her fault. But he proved that the accident was not her fault based on the photos of the car and just the situation in which her car got hit. But that's the reason that people have insurance. So I agreed with your sentiment about use it. That's its entire purpose. And I think that if he would have come in here and said, okay, I will put it through insurance, but I have a $5,000 deductible, I felt like you might have been more inclined to give him a portion of that, since neither of them were really at fault. They were both victims of a hit and run, but I would have respected that more if he had chosen to use his own homeowner's insurance as opposed to going after another victim. She wasn't at fault, and he knew that.
She really wasn't at fault. Yeah. She really wasn't at fault. And as we discussed a moment ago, the suggestion that you should have gone into to the left where there was an oncoming traffic rather than veering to the right and hit something that was a stationary object.
It was definitely the safer option. And in that second moment, she was lucky that she made that decision. You never know. Someone else could have lost their life.
Right.
Case 2153, Fawless versus Mixenbach. All parties, please step forward.
Elizabeth Fawless is suing her former friend, Christy Masenbach, for 2 kayaks and an assault.
Miss Fawless, it is your claim you and the defendant were friends, been friends for a while.
Yes.
Your allegations are twofold. First, you say that the defendant assaulted you after a party.
Yes.
You weren't injured as a result of that assault. You didn't seek medical attention, but you said you had some scratches and that she hit you.
Yes.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
So she was on top of me. I was scratching, hitting, pulling, trying to just get away. I don't think she really remembers everything, and it just happened so fast, but I was finally able to leave and get out the home with my daughter safely.
Okay, bad behavior.
I agree.
Bad behavior?
Christy shrugs. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Elizabeth and Christy.
Elizabeth Fawless claims her former friend, Christy Masenbach, owes for 2 kayaks and an assault.
There was no medical treatment. There was some drinking that went on that night.
Yes.
But the thrust of your complaint is that you gave the defendant 2 kayaks that you had purchased.
Correct.
Because the defendant has a piece of property and you didn't have a place to store them, and you asked if you could store them at the defendant's home.
Correct.
She said yes. You're no longer friends after this kerfuffle that took place after a party, and you would like the 2 kayaks back.
Correct.
When did you purchase them?
I bought them on April 29, 2020.
From whom?
This lady and her mother were selling them on Facebook Marketplace. They were moving out of state and her mom couldn't take them with her. So I have the messages of those 2, but I bought them on Facebook.
And how much did you pay?
320 or 350, sorry.
For both of them or each?
For both of them.
And when did you begin storing them at the defendant's?
I brought them over the next day after I bought them because I live in an upstairs apartment. I had nowhere to keep them. So she has a house that she lives in, so it was a better situation for them.
Where are you living now?
I still live in an upstairs apartment.
Where are you going to put the kayaks?
I was planning on storage or maybe find a family member who has a home to take them to. But to basically probably buy a storage.
That's pretty expensive to keep them in storage. You paid $350 for the two of them 2 years ago. Have you used them in 2 years?
I bought them this year, this April 2022.
Oh, 2022.
Sorry, yeah, 22.
Have you used them?
Yeah, I use them often with my daughter. She's 5 and autistic.
Have you used them with the defendant?
No.
Have you used the kayaks?
Personally, I have not yet. I haven't had the chance to.
Just a sec, you have not?
I have not yet, no.
Okay, you acknowledge the fact that the plaintiff, who was then your friend, brought them over for you to store. You're not friends anymore, she wants them back. Why not?
So I would like to kind of go back to the beginning where like the assault happens, just so that you can kind of understand.
I'll get to this.
Okay.
The assault is not the important part of this case.
Okay. So the kayaks, originally, it was a deal that if I was to keep them at my house, that we could both use them. When she wanted them back, I just didn't necessarily feel like that was fair because the original agreement was that they were kind of almost both ours. I just didn't have the opportunity to use them yet.
Okay. All right, well, now you're not friends anymore. Now she wants them back. So she's going to pick up the kayaks within 5 days. If you don't pick them up within 5 days, you're out of luck. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, good. So within 5 days from today's date, we'll prepare an order. You can pick up the kayaks. Now, you want to proceed with the assault part of your case?
Yes.
Okay. Show me pictures of what the injuries were that you sustained.
I don't have any photos. I had a different phone at the time, and...
Just a second, so you don't have any photos. Do you have any medical reports?
I don't.
Okay. This alleged assault happened on what date?
It was August 17th, 2022.
Were you both out that night, or were you having a party in a house?
So what happened was her girlfriend had cheated on her and they broke up, and she invited me and a couple other friends to the home where we were there. My daughter was also there, where we were hanging out, we were talking, trying to have a good time because she was having such a bad time. And I ended up falling asleep at some point. I went to go sleep with my daughter in the room. Everybody had left maybe around 12 a.m. and she came into the room wanting to talk, wanting someone to be there with her. But I was asleep. I'm not a very happy person to be woken up to. So I told her no, like we'll talk in the morning. She wasn't okay with that. She started getting mad, so she started getting upset, and my daughter was next to me, so I was like, well then I'm gonna leave. And so I tried to walk out. She grabbed me, she threw me to the ground. She's stronger than me, so she was on top of me. I was scratching, hitting, pulling, trying to just get away. My daughter was screaming and crying. But she's autistic, so she doesn't really understand what was going on, but she was highly upset. She was screaming no. And I was eventually able to like get up and try to leave. She followed me to the garage. I just tried to push and try to just get away from her, but I don't think she really remembers everything, and it just happened so fast. But I was finally able to leave and get out the home with my daughter safely.
Okay, good. Okay, bad behavior. Bad behavior.
I agree.
Bad behavior?
Christy shrugs.
Okay. I wish I had a photograph. Okay, within 5 days, pick up your kayaks. Are we done here?
Can I explain my end or no?
What?
Can I explain my end or no?
You did explain your end. You said you didn't think it was fair when she wanted her kayaks back because we were going to use them together. But now you're not going to use them together because you don't like each other anymore. So you're not going to use them together, so she's going to get them back.
Alrighty.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Christy, then Elizabeth.
There was a lot more to the story than happened, but unfortunately, I guess the best outcome would be just to go ahead and give her back her kayak. So
It shouldn't have gone to this point. I should have got it back after the incident. For adults, it should have went way smoother.
There was a lot more insult that happened, like on both ends. It wasn't necessarily the whole full truth.
I think she's just going through a lot with whatever she's going on with her ex, and just I feel like it just got taken out on me.
Because we were like sisters before, and
damage and loss of income.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case 2152, Robinson versus Lane.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Tabitha.
How long have you been in the business of renting party equipment?
We've been in the business about 2.5 years.
And when you started the business by purchasing how many pieces of equipment?
We purchased 3 used units.
3 used?
Yes, obstacle courses, and we rented them out, and then we saved the money and then progressed renting them out and getting more.
Now, the jumper that you rented to the defendants.
Yes, ma'am.
Was one that you bought used or one that you bought new?
I bought it new.
When?
I bought it on 7/19/21. I have the receipt for it.
I'd like to see it, please.
Tabitha hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, and what you rented from them was a 38-foot obstacle course.
We didn't rent from them.
Who did?
Some friends of ours did. They used our property for their daughter's Sweet 16. They paid the Robinsons. They signed the rental agreement. We did not.
Is that correct?
Sandra is actually the one that handed me the cash.
Did somebody sign a rental agreement?
Yes.
Who was it?
It's a lady. Her name is...
Okay, so let me understand that this is... let me frame it. You rented this piece of equipment, which is a 38-foot obstacle course, to someone whose name is, and according to your complaint, it was returned damaged.
Yes.
You say it can't be repaired, although you tried to patch it.
Right.
And you want the cost of a new obstacle course, and while you paid $4,500, you want $9,000.
Well, I have a list of loss of rentals because people...
You're not entitled to that. Okay. More important, I want to know how you think if these people were not signatories to your rental agreement, why would you sue them?
When we went there...
May I see that, please, by the way, while she's telling me the story?
Kevin retrieves a document from Tabitha.
When we went there to drop it off, we did I dealt completely with Sandra. They run a business in their property, which is for parties. She said they do cigar club parties, they do Sweet 16 parties on their property.
Okay, got it. You do this as a business?
So yes, we run...
The answer is yes.
Yes.
You use your home property. Is it your home property that you use?
Yes.
So you have a large enough piece of property that other people who want to make parties for their children do them at your house?
Yes.
So you took physical custody of this?
No.
Who did?
The renters, the people...
No, it's physical custody, not legal custody. We're not talking about legal custody. You took physical custody and put it on your property.
The people that signed the original rental agreement were on the property at the time that they dropped it off.
I don't care. It was on your property.
Yes, it was on our property.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
So it was on your property, but used by somebody else, and they were just using your property.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I had it rented out on Sunday. So when I dropped it off, I told Sandra that we would have to come at 6:30 in the morning to pick it up, to clean it and deliver it the next day. She agreed to that because normally we don't leave it overnight if it's going out the next day because we need to sterilize it. When we got there at 7 in the morning, we came in and we were getting ready to pick up the 38-foot obstacle. I noticed that the dogs had chewed, and there are 2 dogs, a boxer and another dog, were still running around and lifting their leg and urinating on the bouncer. We told her, your dog ate our obstacle. There's pieces of the vinyl, which I have pictures of it, where your dog just ate it.
You have pictures of our dog chewing it?
Just a second. I don't want to hear you again. I tried to ignore you quietly and figured you'd get the message. You don't shout out here. Go ahead.
My husband said, excuse me, miss, we have a problem. Your dogs have eaten our obstacle. So then she went in to go and get her husband. Her husband came out. He signed paper saying he was responsible for loss of rentals and the damages or replacement of it.
May I see it, please?
Yes. And also he sent text messages to our phone that same morning apologizing and saying he would do everything to replace it plus the loss of rentals that we were going to lose.
I'd like to see those texts, and I would like to see his signature on a piece of paper assuming responsibility.
And then
Just a second.
Tabitha hands documents to Kevin.
And here's the text messages. Oh, would you show this to Mr. Lang, please? Did you sign that, sir?
Aaron reviews a document.
Yes.
Okay.
I signed it under distress.
Under distress?
Under distress.
There's no such thing. You mean duress?
Duress. She was.
Just a second. There's a difference between distress.
Duress.
Okay. At 7:29 a.m., you said, I, Aaron Lang, resident, can acknowledge that a jumper obstacle course has been damaged from a dog. I will take care of the repairs and work with the rental company and its owners to get this resolved ASAP. And then about 15 minutes later, you wrote, I'm so sorry again. Let me know when you drop it off, please. Okay, so you tried to drop it off the next day.
I was trying to drop it off the next day to Albert, a repair guy that...
Just a second, just answer my question. It doesn't require a long answer. The next day, you were trying to get it resolved, and you're back and forth with him, let me know, et cetera, and then you don't hear from him.
No.
Then it stopped. Tried calling you, I tried messaging you to get this resolved.
Yes.
Okay, well, Mr. Lang, there's no question. You acknowledged the damage and you agreed to pay for it. That's what you have. Can I have that back?
Kevin brings a document to Judy.
You acknowledged in here that you would take full responsibility for this. What's your defense?
My defense is when they arrived on the property to pick up their jumper that was left unaccounted for over.
No. When they arrived.
So when they arrived and they announced to us that there was damage to their obstacle course.
Well, they came to you first.
Correct.
Is that, don't speak. They came to you first.
Yes.
You came outside.
Yes.
Okay, and when you came outside, you had a conversation with whom?
I believe Miss Robinson.
With Mrs. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you say to her and what did she say to you?
She just went hysterically, like upset that the jumper was damaged, and that's when I went inside to talk to my husband.
What did she say?
She just started crying, and she
started to cry.
Yeah, she's like, your dog's damaged my obstacle course.
Just a second. So she was crying?
Yes.
And did you have any issue when she said to you, your dog's damaged my obstacle course? Did you see what was bitten off from the obstacle course? That's either a yes or a no. The answer is yes. Okay. What kind of dogs do you have?
A German Shepherd and a Boxer.
And where had you stored this unit overnight?
It was left outside.
In the backyard, in the front yard?
We live on a huge ranch, so it's a 2.5 acre parcel. And it's been known that our neighbor dogs always hop.
I don't want to hear neighbor dogs. I don't want to hear coyotes. I don't want to hear bears.
Whitney grins. Caption, coming up.
My witness, he is the repair guy.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new.
And later today.
You have the phone.
I do. To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie. Just a second.
I literally
just a second. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tabitha, Brandon, Aaron, and Sandra.
Tabitha and Brandon Robinson claim their customers, Aaron and Sandra Lang, refused to pay the costs of repairs after damaging their jumper house.
Okay, now I'm going to get back to you. So now your wife comes in to get you, and you went outside.
Yes.
And?
I go outside.
Who else is there?
Just my wife and I.
So just the two of you?
Just the two of us were home.
And they were there?
And they were there.
Both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
And their daughter.
Okay, and?
I go outside. Miss Robinson is completely hysterical, crying, just out of control in hysterics.
Okay.
Her husband's yelling, screaming, profanity.
No, tell me. Oh, I want you to tell me exactly. No. I want you to tell me exactly. She's crying, and he starts yelling.
Yes.
Well, you came out and said what to them when you came out? And then I want to hear exactly what was said.
I asked to see the damage, for them to show me what was going on, what had happened. They showed me the damage. We both took pictures. Again,
you both took, just a second. So he composed himself long enough to take pictures?
Yes.
And you were composed enough to take pictures?
Yes, I was.
Which you have?
Yes.
And then what happened?
throughout their screaming.
No, I want you to tell me. Now you're taking pictures, and?
Brandon is on the phone with their repair guy of some sort.
Okay, so he's on the phone, he's composed enough to be on the phone. Now, before he got on the phone with his repair guy, did you discuss with him your responsibility to take care of the damage? That's either yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes. So once you said, I'll take care of the damage, he got on the phone with his repair guy.
Before I agreed to take care of the damages, before we discussed that, he was already on the phone.
Okay, and then he got off the phone, but you signed this the same day. So I want to know when in this conversation you signed it. You need something to lean on. Somebody has to give you a piece of paper. Somebody has to get a pen.
I did not fill out that piece of paper.
You don't have to.
Tabitha is the one that filled out the piece of paper in their vehicle.
Who did?
Miss Robinson is the one that filled it out in her vehicle.
Okay,
and then
so
handed it
just
to
a
me to
second.
sign.
So she got in her vehicle.
Crying in hysterics.
I don't care. She got in her vehicle, and where was her husband?
Outside loading the bouncer.
So he was outside.
Yes.
She went inside her vehicle, and he was busy.
Yes.
And you live in a house.
Yes.
And you felt pressured.
Yes.
You felt as if you were being extorted.
Bullied, yes.
Did you go inside to call the police?
No, I did not. I should have.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I did not.
You went over to the truck where she was hysterical. She wrote out this document, right?
Yes.
And you signed it.
Yes, I did.
There we go. Make my life very easy. Did your repair guy try to fix the bouncer?
I do have a receipt where we did have it, tried to get it temporary patch where we paid $600 just to make sure we could still rent it out. So that was paid for. This is my repairman. He is my witness. And then also I do have a paper with an estimate of what it would be to repair the obstacle.
May I see it, please? After he did this job, which he did on October 4th, from the 3rd to the 4th, did you rent it out?
No, we tried to, but I have pictures that I brought of what happens when the air flows through. The patches won't stay. You have to go up inside the bouncer and actually put a patch on the inside and the outside, and it would cost more money. My witness he is the repair guy that can
What you're telling me is that your witness prepared this estimate of what it would cost to repair the jumper.
Yes.
Stand up, sir. I don't need an explanation of this. I'm not going into the repair jumper business. Thankfully, I have a job, and I'm too old to learn anything new. Did you prepare this estimate to fix the jumper?
Yes, ma'am. That is the full estimate to repair it properly.
To do it properly?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one was a temporary repair.
Listen, I got it. I'm a fast learner, and anybody who watches this program better learn to think fast too, because I have a lot of things to do today. So you prepare this. So for $2,500, in addition to the $600, did they pay you the $600? So in addition to the $600, so in total, $3,100 would fix the jumper.
Correct.
Great. That's what you agreed to pay, sir. You agreed to do the repairs on the jumper. Now, you want a new jumper. You're not going to get a new jumper. You're not going to get damages for lost income. He's going to fix the jumper. How long is it going to take you?
Roughly about 2 days. 2
days. Piece of cake. $3,100. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I don't owe them anything. I didn't rent the bouncer
I'm just happy that we're going to have our bouncer repaired.
because they're money hungry.
They're looking for a payday.
The truth always comes out, and what's right is what's right.
Sarah.
So initially, after reading the papers, I thought the plaintiffs, while perfectly matched in their tops, were suing the wrong people because these people didn't sign the rental agreement. So any damage or any agreement to pay damage, I was with you from the beginning that these are the wrong people. It came out that they had a little bit more involvement, the defendant, than they wanted.
They agreed to pay.
Exactly. He knew he did the wrong thing. He probably saw his dog destroy the jumper from the kitchen window and felt bad and knew that it was his responsibility. I don't think that they deserve $9,000 for a brand new jumper, but they deserve to get it fixed and to keep making money off of it.
Right.
Case 2178, Glad versus Sawbird. All parties, please come forward.
Serenity Glad is suing her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sauber, for unpaid loans.
Ms. Glad, if my memory is correct, you are suing the defendant for a series of small loans that you claim she owes you for, and those loans were created, according to you, during a period of time that you and the defendant were either involved in a relationship and or engaged.
Yes.
How long do you know each other?
We've known each other since May of 2021.
And there came a time when the defendant came to live with you, or you went to live with the defendant?
I moved to Colorado to live with her.
And when was that?
That was in May of 2022.
When you moved in with her to Colorado, were you working?
Not at the time, no.
What kind of work did you do in Colorado?
I was unemployed.
How'd you support yourself?
A friend of the family helped me out due to my disabilities.
Who pays your rent?
The friend of the family.
Do you own a car?
I did.
Do you now?
No.
Are you working now?
Not at the moment, no.
Prior to that?
I was out in Colorado.
Working?
Yes.
For whom?
It was a local coffee shop.
Okay. Now you're living together, you are a couple, at some point you became engaged, and then something happened. What happened is probably irrelevant. What I want you to tell me is, from the point that you moved in, what loans do you claim you made to her?
I had paid part of a vet bill.
When was that?
That was at the end of May. I have the invoices here.
And what makes that a loan?
Because at the time she didn't have money and she had agreed to pay me back when she had gotten a job.
Did you agree to pay her back for this vet bill when you got a job?
No, ma'am. The friend of the family was going to pay for it all, but she insisted on paying it.
Tell me about that.
So in the vet office, I was messaging the friend of the family, and he was willing to pay it in full. And she was like, no, I'm going to pay for it. You need to quit asking him for money. I was like, he is the person that supports me right now. We do not have the money, so he's going to help us. She said that she would pay for half of it, I believe it was.
For half?
For half.
Okay.
So it was like $100.
How much was it?
$170.
Let's keep moving on.
Caption coming up.
I've been paying my data on my phone and she keeps turning it off.
Just a second. I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius boy.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway.
Whitney smirks. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Serenity and Jennifer.
Serenity Glad claims her ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Sauber, refuses to pay back loans given to her during their engagement.
Now, what other loans do you think she owes you for?
I had bought her tires for her car.
When?
That was on June 17th, I believe.
Were you using the car?
I was using the car.
Okay. For how long were you using the car?
About 2 months.
And what were you using the car for?
Getting to work.
So at that point, it was as much your vehicle as it was hers, because she wasn't working. So you took the car to work?
Yes.
And the car needed tires?
Yes.
And?
So I ended up paying for them just for safety reasons, given that.
Well, it's your safety. You were driving it. Right?
That's true, yes.
Let's move on. Next loan.
On top of that, I had to pay for vet insurance for her dog.
She didn't have to.
Just a second.
Sorry.
And then even after I had left Colorado, she asked me to leave her dog on the plan and just pay me.
You have your own animals?
No.
No. So after you left Colorado, when you were no longer a couple, did you request that she continue to pay for the vet insurance? That's either a yes or a no.
I don't remember.
Well, she says you did. How many months did you pay after you left Colorado? Show me. After you left her, you were no longer a couple. How many months did you pay?
I had ended up paying
just the months?
2 months.
And how much were those 2 months?
$71.46.
What's next?
After that, the biggest one is the phone that she has.
Tell me, when you got the phone, when she got a new phone, because I assume she had a phone, is that right?
I actually had just bought a brand new phone, and I insisted that I didn't need a new one.
What kind of phone did you buy?
iPhone 11 mini.
And?
I got the phone, and I have a hard time seeing, and I didn't have glasses, and I was like, it would be nice to have a larger phone. We actually originally went to get us on the same plan. I was going to keep my same phone, but I was looking at the phone. She was like, well, let's both just get new phones. I was like, that's not a good idea. She was like, well, let's just get them. It's fine. So I traded in my old phone for about $400, and we got the phone, and the agreement was since I traded in my old phone, I still had to pay off the old phone because I just got it. So the agreement was I pay off my old phone, and to keep the service on, I would pay for my service and my data, and she would pay off the phone itself. That was our original agreement. And then a few weeks later, she's like, I never said that.
Okay. How much did you end up paying for her phone?
As of currently, there is $575 paid on her phone.
Do you still have that phone?
I do.
Can I see that there's $575 left on her phone? Not because you got two when you got new phones. So just hers.
I have this.
Is that for one phone?
That is
or
just
two?
for one phone, yes.
Serenity hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, would you show this to the defendant, Kevin, please? And you have the phone?
I do.
And you're not paying for it?
I'm paying for the service, for what we
Service,
agreed
I'm
on.
not talking about service. That receipt is for one phone.
Yes.
It says your phone was a little over $1,000.
Yes.
What was put down on the phone was almost $400. There was some payments made, and what's still owing on the phone is $514. That's what it says.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. And you have the phone?
I do.
Great. So 7146 and 514 is 585. Anything else?
To this day, I am still paying for the data for that phone.
That's a lie.
Just a sec.
I literally
Just a sec. Cut off your data, let her get her own plan. She'll go in, she'll get her own plan. Right now, what's due and owing on the phone is 514. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been paying my data on my phone, and she keeps turning it off.
Just a sec. I suggest you get a new plan. You have your phone, get another
I've been trying to, but she keeps...
I can't help you with that.
I understand.
You know, I'm not one of those, what do they call them, geniuses?
Genius bar.
Yeah, I'm not a genius person. Not with phones anyway. Okay, 7146 and 514. My math is almost correct. It's $585.46. That's what she owes you.
400 of that is from my old phone.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's what she owes. That's what she owes on it. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
I'm okay with it.
I do think it was a very fair hearing.
I'm okay with it because I, just want things to be all right between us because she's still my best friend and I still love her.
I mean, I feel the same way, I do love her. She's my best friend. Same exact thing. I just hope things smooth over.
Sarah.
So I think naturally when you're engaged to be married to someone, or when you're married, or even in a very serious relationship for a year, you don't keep a laundry list of expenses. I took you to dinner this night for our anniversary, here's your half. We went on vacation, here's your half. So it makes it that much more important when you're in a serious relationship like that, because in the eyes of the law, those things are sort of a wash.
रूम है, यहाँ से फ्रंट गेट, ऊपर की सीढ़ियाँ, और ये रूम है, यहाँ को 2 बाथरूम है, ये नहाने का, और ये ऊपर छत की सीढ़ियाँ हैं। हेलो आंटी। ये रूम है। हेलो आंटी। ये मेरा सिंगल रूम रहेगा। यहाँ पर बेड, स्टडी टेबल है, ऊपर सीलिंग में फैन है, और ये अंदर 2 जो रहेंगे उनका है। डबल बेड यहाँ पे लगा हुआ है। यहाँ पे अलमारी भी दे रखी है, ऊपर सामान रखने के रैक हैं, अंदर किचन भी है एक। यहाँ पर एक किचन है और ये अलमारी है, फुल स्पेस है अलमारी में। बाकी ये छत की सीढ़ियाँ हैं, ऊपर वो ऊपर छत है, यहाँ कोई दूसरी फैमिली रहती है। ये वॉश बेसिन है, ये नीचे सीढ़ियाँ हैं और वो नीचे को रोड खुलती है आगे से।